Hey, welcome back to Wandering Skein. My name is Maggie, and welcome back to my journey around Florida. This is day 4. We go to Dry Tortugas National Park. If you're just joining us, I am venturing around the state of Florida to visit almost all of the national parks. There was a couple I couldn't get to, but yeah, this is day 4. I'm tent camping across Florida in May. Not a good idea. But yeah, we visited Dry Tortugas National Park. I say we, it was just me. But I visited Dry Tortugas National Park and it was absolutely beautiful. So it's from Key West, it is about a 2.5-hour ferry ride to Dry Tortugas. I loaded up on the ferry about 7 o'clock in the morning and all got on there. I was like running late and I was mad about it, and then I couldn't find my camera, and I thought I was running late. I was not running late. I was panicking for no reason, as I usually do. But I made it to Dry Tortuga, or I made it to the ferry, was all ready to go, and then they told us that this group of middle schoolers was going on the ferry with us, and I was like, okay, we'll get to that later. But I was super excited, got on the ferry, and my goal was to do some knitting and just kind of hang out on the ferry. I didn't get a lot of pictures just because on the ferry or videos, just there's a lot of people, a lot of kids. Yeah, I wasn't doing that. But I sat down, they gave us breakfast, which was really nice. It was a little choppy, and almost every one of those middle schoolers got sick. It was actually kind of funny to watch. I took a Dramamine before I left, so it was like one by one, these kids were going to the back of the boat to hurl their guts up. It was like terrible. I was laughing with some of the workers on the ship. I was like, y'all cannot be sympathetic pukers, because holy crap, people were going down. But it was kind of funny. But we got to the island, and Dry Tortugas is actually one of the last of the Florida Keys. It is the very last key. So I got to say that I have seen the first and the last Florida Key. The first was in Biscayne National Park, and the last being Dry Tortugas. So that was pretty cool. So little bit of history for y'all. Dry Tortugas is one of the least visited national parks in the country, just because it's so hard to get to. You have the option to camp on the island itself. It is booked almost a year in advance, so that was not happening for me. But I was lucky enough to get the charter boat, which also books out crazy fast. If you are ever planning to go, make sure you book it super early, because it will book out crazy fast. We got to the fort, and I made a short tour of the fort. Walked around. They were doing some construction in the areas. But I still got a nice walk around to see the views. I went all the way up to the top, very top. I'm scared of heights, so I was freaking out a little bit, so I didn't spend too much time up there. Obviously, they did not have any OSHA or ADA standards up there, so no rails or anything. So I got down from there pretty quick, but I walked around. It was kind of spooky. But a brief history of the fort. So this fort was created to act as an important advance post for the ships that were patrolling the Gulf of Mexico. And Fort Jefferson is one of the largest forts ever built, or was one of the largest forts ever built, and took over 30 years to build. During the Civil War, it was used by the Union to block Southern shipping, and it was also used as a prison at one point. So yeah, I got to tour around the fort. There was a section of the island that is kind of like a bird sanctuary, and so there were just tons of birds all around. As part of their nesting grounds. I think they said that they come from portions of Africa, actually. And anyways, it was super cool to see all these birds there. I don't know what they are. I don't really know their significance. I am not much of a birder, but they were kind of cool to see, and there were a lot of them. I know the birders that were there that day were having a good day because there were tons of birds. but they just kind of looked like fancy seagulls to me. But I know they were flipping out. They were having a good time. But it was really cool. The waters were just pristine. I tried to go snorkeling. It was a little cloudy, and also I was by myself, so I didn't want to. I know that I was getting kind of nervous snorkeling by myself, especially because in portions the water was a little choppy, and I didn't not want to slide into the wall because I was worried about like fire corals. Also, I didn't want to go very far out, just because if anything were to happen, I'd be kind of SOL out there. So I didn't do a whole lot of snorkeling. I tried to go up against like there's the moat wall, and that is the spot where they say to snorkel would be best. So I tried to do that. I saw a couple little fish. I saw, oh my goodness, and I don't know the name of the fish, but it's the purple and yellow one from Finding Nemo. I saw one of those. It was super cool. It was really pretty. It like just shone out, but that's about all I saw. And I was just getting freaked out, so I left. Got out of the water, but took a walk around the fort again, and yeah, it was so beautiful, and like all the fish that were in the moat. It was just awesome. It was awesome. I am very glad that I got the opportunity to go. I recommend it for anybody. It was beautiful. It was awesome. I have never seen water that clear and that blue before, and it was just awesome. I know I'm saying that a lot, but it was really cool. But from there, I got back on the ferry. It was another 2.5 hour ride, and I actually sat at a table with a family who had done the overnight camping, and they stayed there for a couple nights, and they said it was just awesome because you're secluded. You don't have your phone. There's no self-service. You're 70 miles offshore, so you don't have anything. You don't know what's going on in the world, and it's awesome. And there's no light pollution, so the stars are there. They were showing me pictures of like the stars and everything, and it looked so beautiful. And I'm kind of jealous I didn't get to spend the night, but because that would have been really cool. But it was just awesome. It was awesome, and I'm happy for them to get to spend the night because the pictures they took were awesome. But I definitely think that's on a bucket list to be able to spend the night there at some point. But after I got off the ferry, I was craving something. And because I was in Key West, I had to make it happen. I wanted key lime pie so bad. So I get on the internet and I look up the best places for key lime pie in Key West. So the first place that popped up was Blue Heaven. This place was popping up a couple of times. It's like a little restaurant. So I walked there. I was like, oh, I don't need to drive. I already paid for parking in downtown. I'm not paying for parking somewhere else again because parking it's ridiculous. It's very expensive down there. So I went. I sat at the bar, and I probably looked stupid sitting at the bar. I was looking like a 12-year-old. I had my little hat on. Yeah, I looked dumb. Everybody else was like beach attire, and I was beach attire. But all I wanted was a pie, and they brought out this sucker of a pie. This thing was like this thick. It was huge. And you know what? I embarrassed myself because I ate the whole dang thing. The little couple across from me was sharing theirs. No, I was eating the whole thing. I hated myself for it, but it was really good. It was really good. So I was like, yeah, it was awesome. And then I walked back to the my car to go back to the campsite, and took some pictures of the buildings. And there's all these chickens walking around, and I could not figure why there's so many chickens walking around Key West. Turns out they're actually descendants of the chickens that were brought over, which was pretty interesting. So there's all these like wild chickens walking around, and they were kind of cute with their little chicks following around. So I didn't know they're actually like kind of sort of yeah, I don't know. They were cute. It was kind of cool. So I went back to the campsite. They were cool until they were like waking me up or keeping me up at night because they were clucking, and I could hear them. Like one would go off, and then like other ones would start to go off. They would just like, it was really annoying. But I went back to my campsite to spend the night again. It was brutally hot, so I stopped by Home Depot and I got myself like a little fan, a little Ryobi like battery powered fan. I am so glad I did that. That thing is tiny, but it saved me. It saved me. I am so glad I did that. Yeah, it was hot. It was hot, but yeah, it was all good. I am so glad I went and I took the opportunity to go because it was just so cool. It was so cool. I wanted to get a little video of my stamp, but okay, you got 200 people coming off the ship, and then you walk into the fort and the visitor center is like where you get your stamps is right there. Of course, everybody that's going there is going to get their stamp. So like a ton of people walked into the visitor center at once. And okay, this is a little rant. If you are going in somewhere and there's 500 million people waiting behind you, speed it up. That's just me. That's just me, apparently. You know, put a little pep in your step, but you know, what do I know? Anyway, anyways, that was my rant. I apologize. Got a little off topic. But yeah, there was a bunch of people getting in there, so I didn't want to be taking videos of people, especially when there's people waiting behind me. But yeah, so that was my trip to Dry Tortugas. It was super exciting. Again, so happy I went. It was beautiful. I'm definitely gonna have to go again, and I think I might try camping. Like I said, you gotta book it a year in advance, and of course nobody ever knows what the weather's like in a year. So yeah, but anywho, thanks for watching. Come back for my next one. We're about finished with this trip. I got about 2 days left. So yeah, come hang out with me again. 2 more videos. Today is the 26th of May that I'm recording this, and a video game that I've been waiting for a very long time has finally come out. And for early access, so I want to play it, but my goal is to get these videos done before I play it. So we're gonna make it happen. This is my homework. So thanks everybody for coming. I hope to see y'all in the next one, and yeah, thanks. Bye.